Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite tanking team in the Bay Area. On today's episode, we're going to break down the Sharks' 5-2 loss to the Isles and why this team continues to just shoot itself in the foot and cannot get out of its own way. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fan and San Jose Hockey Now. And by God, is that Kyle Demetrius' music? Kyle!
I hope you play some
how's it
sort
going?
of outrageous music over top of there in post, like Duel of the Fates or something that's needlessly dramatic for absolutely no reason.
You don't want to get sued. Extreme Willie voice.
I'll just play like you can do. I think fair use is like 10 seconds. Actually, I've been listening to Lost by Frank Ocean a lot recently. Maybe play the opening line of Lost. That'd be great. I think I would just like to say that the Sharks are worse than even our wildest imagination could have thought of. They are so bad.
Bad.
They're bad, but they're not even hilariously bad. They're boring bad. But at the same time, it's like, well, you signed a whole bunch of third line and fourth line guys. I don't know. Look
what happens when who could have seen this? We saw this coming. We very much this team can be very bad from the start, the jump. But this is
I tweeted a couple, or I guess against the Chicago game. Also, just a banner streak of teams to start 0-5 against. Really, like, who is the best one? Carolina. That's fair.
Carolina. I mean, Carolina's really good.
Totally
Carolina's really good. Nashville's probably a playoff team, right?
Well,
they're a playoff caliber team. They're going to be fighting for a playoff spot in the West. So,
yeah, if they sneak into the wild card, I don't think anybody's upset. You
could easily see that. Yes,
I think they're clearly below the Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota troika. But
the Minnesota hasn't won a game yet, so
we're still. So they're cromulent to say the least. Still, if you are a trying playoff team, you got to beat those creamy middle teams. Yes. So that's 3 games.
Yes,
Chicago is dreadful.
Chicago actively trying to be the worst team in the NHL,
and the Islanders play Cal Clutterbuck and Matt Martin, and I'll host Robin Salo is awful. They play.
My favorite part of was when Randy Hahn was like, "Why would Matt Martin be out on the power play?" At one point.
I would also like to point out that Hedeken and Randy Hahn over multiple commercial breaks kept talking about which guys on the team are cake eaters, and I would like to direct them to any of their younger family members to explain how awkward that was to hear a 60, 70-year-old man talk about eating cake.
I did ask Scott Reedy about that. He explained the cake eater thing, but yes, it's anyway.
There's a whole song called "Cake by the Ocean."
There we go.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, this team, it's right now like other than James Reimer, who's been very good this year. I know he gave up 4 goals tonight, but was onslaught.
Who's been the best forward?
Is it Nico Sturm?
No.
Is it Svechnikov?
Yeah.
There's your 2 guy. They both your fourth line's the only decent line on this team. Gadovich is played pretty well. Nico Sturm and Svechnikov are leading the team in goals right now. Where are your stars? And
one of them looks.
I know Meier's hit the post a bunch of times, but this team, the star players right now are doing nothing.
Well, I think the big problem is that they only have 3 quote unquote star players. So it's not like they're, I don't know, Tampa, who has a whole bunch.
If Braden Point goes to a cold streak, it's for a couple games it doesn't score. That's fine. You have a bajillion
Kucherov,
other players you can step.
Stamkos.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. If Meier and Hertl aren't doing anything, then like Couture, the aging cliff, he's my age. I think I'm like a week older than he is. I'm 33. It looks like the age is kind of caught up to him, and he might be more of like a 3C, maybe a defensive specialist kind of guy, but at the same time, like he can't really, you need him to do things. You need him to do offense specifically, because when you look at their lines, and I tweeted this a little while ago, I was like, I too thought Matt Benning and Steven Lawrence would save the franchise, but you have Hertl. If you have Meier, Hertl, Barabanov, right? Perfectly good. That's a good line on any team in the league.
Yep.
Your next line has Logan Couture, Kevin LeBanc, who's coming back from injury and also just being not that great the last 2 seasons, and a fourth liner. They had Steven Lawrence, I think, on their line for a lot of it, or Evgeny Snechnikov, or Nick Bonino. These guys are all third and fourth line guys. And
so really quick, so here were the lines tonight, because we had they broke up the Hertl Meier line. So we had Barabanov, Hertl, and Lawrence as your top line. Timo Meier, Logan Couture, Cunnin as your second line, Matt Nieto, Nick Bonino, and Kevin LeBanc, Gadovich, Nico Sturm, and Svechnikov. Oscar Lindblom, who you signed day one of free agency, and Noah Gregor, who you re-signed this offseason, healthy scratched.
I can't believe they scratched Oscar Lindblom in favor of like Matt Nieto.
Yeah, Lindblom, who he started the season on the second line and has quickly fallen out of David Quinn's favor here. And I mean, the defense, Jacob Megna and Erik Karlsson, Marco Vlasic, Matt Benning.
Hold on. Megna Ferraro played a little bit together. That is just not good. Please don't do that ever again.
Yeah, and then Ferraro and Šimik. Like, Šimik's been okay this year, and Vlasic's had his moments too, but like, this team is just full of guys who are barely should be in the NHL right now. It's like just a bunch of replaceable guys, and this is what you get when you just lack high-end talent other than Timo Meier and Tomas Hertl, and they've started the season ice cold. And it looks like Meier's dealing with an injury now. He got dealing with an injury going into last week after the year coming back from Europe, and then he got shaken up again this game. And Timo Meier does not look like himself, and that just leaves basically Erik Karlsson, who's having to drag Jacob Megna around, and Tomas Hertl to do stuff, and it's not possible.
Shang tweeted that the Islanders outchanced them 9-1 off even strength cycles, and when you look at that, you think, okay, that's a big difference in numbers. But there's two main problems. Is that it looks like San Jose's playing a bend not break strategy. And when you read, I think Shang had an article with Jack Hahn, whatever.
I think it's Hahn, yeah.
I think it's Hahn. Yeah. They had an article breaking down the changes, and they're dropping back into like a 1-3-3. When they go on the attack, they go with a 2-1-2 where the high guy drops back and plays defensively. That's fine if you can counterattack and use your speed, counterattack, stand them up at your own blue line, and then turn it back up ice. But the Sharks don't have the foot speed. None of those guys they signed are fast. And when you scratch Noah Gregor, you just have very little speed. Like, I love Timo Meier. He's not the fastest guy. He just isn't. He's a big guy. He's a power forward. He's got some quickness, but he's not the fastest guy. He's just not beating people. Tomas Hertl is not fast at all. Logan Couture is no longer fast. Bonino, not fast. Lawrence, not fast. Svechnikov is giant. He's not fast. Like, none of these guys are fast. So when you play the bend, don't break strategy, you have to be able to hurt them going the other way. You also have to be able to hurt them in the offensive zone and grind them down. But San Jose lacks so much on-puck talent. So when they get it in the corner, they have a lot of guys, and they signed a lot of guys. Like, well, they traded for Lawrence, but Kunin or Cunnin, they keep saying it different ways. It's very frustrating. Yeah. Luke K goes into the corner. Svechnikov, Gadovich. Like, these guys are good at banging a body, getting into the corner, and grinding it out, using their feet, maybe getting it there. But what they need is guys that can pass out of those danger zones and those tight zones and make plays. And also the on-puck tight talent, because when you're in the corner banging around with those guys and the puck squirts out and you have 6 inches of room to get your stick in there and pull it, but there's a guy right there. You have to be able to make a play in a tight space. They don't have any of those guys. They have like Hertl, Meier, but even then, Meier isn't really the in-space dangle you kind of guy. He's more of that traditional power forward where he's got a great shot and he's going to do a lot of good things. But they don't have the on-puck talent in order to grind you down in the offensive zone. So now they're bending and trying not to break. And when they do get it going the other way, they can't sustain any time in the offensive zone, which means that the Islanders, and really when we're talking about the Islanders and Chicago back-to-back, those are not the best offensive teams. Chicago's actively bad. They're bringing it in and they're just beating down the defense because you got like Matt Benning and Radim Simic and stuff, and they're getting in deep and they're doing what the Sharks are trying to do. And it just leads to tons of offensive zone time for them. Like Matt Benning, gives you one step and then it takes 2 steps back 3 seconds later. It's like they don't have enough talent to sustain the offensive zone time, and then they're breaking.
Yeah, you can only bend so many times before you actually break. So especially with
and if Reimer's not on his game, like one of the goals tonight, Reimer saw it, like it was like kind of like straight in. I'm not going to sit here and give a shit to Reimer. He saw a lot of pucks and he's been good. Yeah. But like one of the ones kind of went in. He probably should have had it, and that happens. But like
you can't expect Reimer to be perfect every night for this.
No, anyway. And Kakinen's going to play.
Yeah. All right. Before we continue, gotta take a quick break. Talk to you guys about good old friends over at BetOnline. You guys know BetOnline is your number one source for football betting information this season. Find out the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth articles, analysis on every game you can find. And always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wager information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. And they're the fastest and easiest way to check on all your favorite games and events, including you got Major League Baseball playoffs right now. NBA just started. Go Warriors. MMA, boxing, golf. So head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. So it's funny that we talk about like how this team lacks just that creativity, right? And then you look at the Barracuda, who have Bordelot, Eklund, 2 of the most like high Q creative puck handlers in the Sharks system right now, and they're not going to get a shot right now. And I'm actually kind of fine with that right now. Like at some point they're going to be up and playing, but yeah, like this team is just really boring to watch because there's just not anybody who can do something with the puck. It's very kind of meat and potatoes. We're just going to try to hammer you out, but you just don't have the talent to do anything with that. So
there's only so many times you can dump it in the corner, try to get it out, and then lose it before it's like, okay, let's try to do anything else. And the one time in the third period, Timo tried to take it out wide and then went offside.
Yeah. It's this team is a slog to watch. And the really kind of weird or interesting to me is how as soon as something like goes wrong, they're just like, okay, we're done. Like you see every second period now where it's just a complete collapse. Another 3 goals by the Islanders tonight. And like the Sharks did a pretty solid job in the first period of getting high quality chances, at 5-on-5. So the Sharks in the first period actually outshot the it was pretty close. It was 41 to 58%. So 7-10, but like high danger chances, it was 5-6. Okay. That's pretty solid. But like, expected goals for that, the Sharks had almost a full expected goal for in the first period. But then this team, there's like that second period, they just don't know what to do. They can't play a complete 60 minutes right now. They can't play a complete 30 minutes right now before this team just falls apart.
Yeah. Didn't they have issues last year in the second period?
They've had issues for several years now in the second period where it's just like,
I guess that's where I have trouble with, it's the kids. You can't put the kids in there because they make mistakes or they haven't earned it yit. It's like, well, I've just watched
the veterans haven't earned anything yet.
Where the veterans aren't earning anything anyway. Like I'd rather Bordelot try to make a move at the blue line and lose it, have them turn the puck up, rather than Matt Nieto chip it in the corner, Nick Bonillo go in there, get into a foot scrum, and then it gets kicked over to the defenseman behind the net and they turn it back up anyway. Like I don't want that. And Quinn and think it was Quinn, I think Couture maybe echoed it or vice versa, where they said they need to play simple, straightforward hockey, yada, yada, yada. It's like, well, clearly then like Goosh, Robbins even, because Robbins had that goal in the first game where he grabbed it out of the air, put it down, and was cutting across the thing. Like, these guys have their creativity, but it's obviously not what the Sharks are looking for. But I'm confused as to what the Sharks are looking for after these performances. And starting 0-5 isn't like, oh my God, they're so bad. This is the end of the world. This is the worst team ever. It's how they've started 0-5 more than just the actual L's. If they were battling, competing, they were in it. Like, I think the only game really that I was like, you know what, that wasn't bad was the second Nashville game.
Yeah, there was that one. I mean, even the Hurricanes game where, I mean, for some reason they seem to have the Hurricanes number. I mean, going to the Hurricanes game, you're going to get outshot. That's like that's just how the Hurricane, they Corsi Cup champions for a reason. But they held in and they battled in there and they, but at some point that bend finally breaks and they lose that game 2-1. But yeah, like
wasn't Carolina outchancing them the whole time anyway? Like, wasn't in that game? Wasn't the leader for Canada for San Jose at like 42% or 45%?
Yeah, it was something like that. So yeah, it was.
So
just,
it's like also two or fewer. Please never say that to me ever again.
The Sharks still at 2 or fewer goals this year. So yeah, they have yet to score over 3 goals. Or
no, they scored 3 goals in game 2. Wasn't it 4-3?
No. They have now they're at 8 goals for the season on 5 games. So,
well, hold on. I thought they lost the second game 4-3. What?
No, is
this some sort of Bernstein Bears situation going on in my head? Schedule.
It's some sort of Bernstein Bears situation going on in your head.
4-1. Oh, it was 3-2, not 4-3. 4-1, 3-2, 2-1, 5-2, 5-2. This just all leads back to the fact that they signed 400 third liners and fourth liners. Like, Nico Sturm is perfectly cromulent on the Colorado Avalanche because he gets to go cruise around on the third line with like Nazem Kadri.
Hey, Nico Sturm's been great this year for the.
No, he has. No, he has. I'm not saying Sturm was a bad choice. Pick any of them, really. They get to go cruise around on these really good teams, and it's like, well, yeah, because the top is taking it's like an NFL football when you have a whole bunch of receivers that just run around the line of scrimmage. You need somebody to take the top off and go deep. Like the Dolphins needed Tyreek Hill. The Rams have literally nobody to run deep. Everybody, and Cooper Kupp is amazing, but like, you need somebody to take the top off.
Focus everybody on Cooper Kupp.
You need those guys in order to help the Nico Sturms of the world do what they need to do. And but
are you the Svechnikov to my Nico Sturm right now?
I feel like it should only be AHL references only.
Yes. So
this is what we're focused on.
Yes. Before we finish up with this game, we're going to take a peek ahead and see if we can find out when the Sharks actually get their first win. Do want to let you guys know about our Game 2 game. So thank you guys, of course, for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Now for your second listen, go check out Game to Game NHL. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. All right.
Okay.
This upcoming.
Okay, I've got schedule. I've got it right here. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
They are on. Actually, you should do this because my dates are all screwed up.
Okay, I will. So Thursday, October 20th. Thursday they play the Rangers, who are pretty good. At Rangers.
That's a big L.
Big L.
Of course, this is going to be the game they win, just because.
Yes, of course.
The Earth. That should be an L. Like, the Rangers are good. Their power play is absolutely mental. They
have the best goalie in the world.
True, and it's only been 4 games, and like Fox had like a 3-point night the other day. Zibanejad's been on fire. Kreider's picked up his goal scoring. Panarin is still doing Panarin things. Lafreniere has come to life. The Lafreniere Hertl line, Kako, I still think they're rocking the kids. They good.
They good. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time at the Devils.
Okay.
This is a potential. The Devils are a hot mess.
The
They have no
Devils,
goalie.
I was told, were going to be good.
I was told
They were taking that step. I was told Jax Hughes is a budding Hall of Famer in waiting.
They're already building his bust.
Yeah, bust is right. No, I'm just kidding. He's still good, but I don't think he's god level like everybody seems to think. I think that you can squeak out a win against the Devils
just because their goaltending is hot trash fire. And a team that can't score, this could be what ails you right here. So.
Yes. Get some, like today, they scored 2 goals. One of them was good work by Nico Sturm. Get some things going. I love that. I love that Brett Hedekins announcing is all just fling pucks at the net, no matter what they do. Eric Carlson can make a beautiful cross ice pass, and the guy could ball and be like, "Oh, he should have just shot it there." Anyway, he was losing himself over Jacob Magna flinging one at the net, but Nico Sturm was Johnny on the spot cleaning up the garbage. Great.
Yep.
The next one was a deflection off of Homeboy's skate. If you can get one of those goals or 2 of those goals, you're probably going to score.
You got a
on
chance.
Whatever trash the Devils are running out there. Mackenzie Blackwood, and who's their other goalie?
Hold on. I don't know.
It's somebody hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bad. Their roster is. Who would have thought that their goalies? Man, I can't wait for James Reimer to go over there. Vanchek. So.
Oh, Vitek Vanacek. Okay.
Yeah.
Has potential to maybe be all right, but like they're not right now. So if you can probably score 1 goal on them, just like a regular goal, like a Timo Meier regular goal,
you're gonna get a weird goal as well. Yes.
So now you're at 3. If you could just limit their 4 offensive guys, but like they have Dougie Hamilton, so like if you could limit Hamilton and Hughes, maybe Nico Hischier scores a goal, like Jesper Bratt's there, Sharangovich.
Yeah.
You can limit them, maybe you could probably squeak one out. But
if the Sharks beat the Devils, do they fire Ruff right then and there?
I like where your head's at.
Just right then and there.
Where your head's at. Bob Bugner is ready to take over a team at the moment's notice.
Yes.
Do you think they beat the Devils?
No.
Okay.
Next.
Herein lies the issue.
Yeah. All right. Next Sunday, the next day, they play the Flyers at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So the second day of a back-to-back. Flyers
are hot. They just beat Tampa.
Yeah. 3-0 to start the season. So I'm going to give them a loss there because it's also the last game of the road trip. You know how it is. You're ready to go home.
So now we're at 6, 7, 8. We're at 0-8 now.
Then you have a nice little homestand here, but you play Vegas, Toronto, Tampa, and then you have the Ducks.
And they bet. So hold on. Let me keep going on that. Then they have the Panthers. Then they have the Ducks again. Then they have the Blues, the Stars, the Wild, the Knights, the Red Wings, the Rangers. They're not going to lose all of those games because then they play the Senators and the Kraken and the Kings and the Canucks and the Canadiens and you start. But up until November 24th, the only true teams that you could say they have a very anybody can win on any given day, but the teams that they have a very fair shot up to the end of their homestand on November 22nd or 21st. The Senators
they go on a road trip. Sorry, after the Anaheim, then it's all on road. It's a road trip. So the homestand is Vegas,
Wild, Knights, yes.
Yeah, so all those guys are on the road. So the only one I'm like circling is like the Anaheim game. Like the Devils game Saturday morning and then one of the Anaheim games.
One of the Anaheim games and then the Senators game on the 22nd. But the Senators are part of that trash factory that comes up all in a row. Yeah. I just think that there's a real shot that they go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're probably going to beat one of the Devils or the Flyers. So they're 1-10, 2-10, 2-11.
They could be like 3 and like 20 at some point.
Yeah, I think there's a real shot that they're at like 3-15.
Which is
a quarter of the way through the season. Like a quarter of the way through the season. So they're at game 25. 20, sorry, 20.
20, yeah. being 3-15.
Is 5 wins like a success at this point? Because they've already dropped 3 winnable games. We'll give them one of the Nashvilles, the Chicago, and today's. Those are winnable games. I don't think anybody is saying that the Hurricanes and the other Predators game.
Yeah, if you split, especially those, you split one of the.
They're in Europe.
You're hoping, you would come out of Europe splitting one of those games, and you'd feel good about yourself. But
like by the end of the November, they'll have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. They'll play 25 games by the end of November, and they do at the end go Senators, Kraken, Kings, Canucks, Canadiens. So
they got a couple winnable ones in there, yes, but
so do you hope that they're 10-15?
No, I want them to keep losing.
No. But I'm saying from management standpoint, are you aiming for 10? That means that you have to go 10-10. You have to play 500 hockey in the next 20 games in order to get back to 10-15.
I just don't. Yeah.
Do we think? I don't see how they play 500 hockey. Do you
No. How do you? What? Yeah. What game are they going to be favored in? Maybe one of the Ducks games at home. None of these games are going to be favored in. They shouldn't be favored in the way they played hockey.
That's the thing is that they have the Canucks, for instance, right now have blown 4 multi-goal leads in a row to start the season, which is hilarious. But at least there you can be they were winning all of these games. They're up.
Yeah.
There's some issues going on, and there's some systemic issues. Minnesota, you can be well, Fleury's not going to shit his bed. I think they played Colorado.
They have too much talent on that team for that.
Rossi's getting integrated. Yes, exactly. Rossi's getting integrated. Addison's
you have Kirill Kaprizov, who is so he could be
Matt Boldy, who looks like he could win Rookie of the Year. If he's eligible, he might not be. I think there's real tangible things with San Jose. I think when you look at it, the big problem is what is tangible where you can pinpoint it and be that's what we need to do more of in order to win games. The stars get it, Timo and Hertl getting hot. Nico Sturm and Evgeny Svechnikov have already given you offense.
Yeah,
they're doing their job.
Yeah, they're doing their jobs. They're doing their jobs. So the fourth line is the only line that's doing his job. Them and James Reimer are the only people that are doing their jobs. Right.
I gotta give credit to Gadjevich. He's looked solid. And on a team with more talent, he's the perfect guy that you can throw in there, and he glues everything together. Yeah. But I don't know what you point to in order for them to be okay, this is what we need to do better. And if I hear goddamn David Quinn say one more time, we need to play simple hockey, it's bro, what have you guys been doing for the past 5 games? Because all I watch is dump-ins.
Yep.
And the power play looks like ass.
That was supposed to be David Quinn's calling card. That was what he did well with the Rangers of okay, we're going to play kind of below average 5-on-5 hockey. We're just going to kind of hang in there, but then we're going to make up for it on special teams. And the penalty kill's been good. The power play has scored 1 power play goal and given up 2 shorties this year. They're negative. It's 5 games into the season. They're in the red.
And they've played 1 legitimate Stanley Cup contender. It's not like they've come out of the gates and they've played Calgary, Carolina, the Rangers, Toronto, and the Kings. They haven't. They've played the Predators twice. They played the Islanders. They played Chicago. I think that's the issue is that we're watching a team that just has nothing going for it right now. And you're going to win games. Obviously, they're not going to go 0-82. They're not even going to go 10-72. That's just not how hockey works.
Yeah.
But where are we topping out at? 25 wins? That's 50 points.
How do you get to 25 at this point?
I think you just give a baseline of 20, and then there's 15 games that kind of go their way. That's 35 games, and say no, that's too much, because then if they get 10 ties or 10 overtime losses, that's 80 points. Yeah. People forget they topped out at 77 last year. It's not that's the thing with Vegas is that Vegas started from 100-point plateau, and so if they're taking a step back, they're going to be 85, 90, 82. Yep. San Jose at 75 or 77. Even if they're the same, they're still at 77. So I'm just confused as to what's going on.
Yeah.
It is my whole thing. Also, I would like to point out, I'm not mad. I love this because we'll have to do a specific tank episode coming up where I know that Bedard is the prize, and obviously Bedard is a franchise level guy. Like he's in the Matthews class, the McDavid class, the Crosby.
He changes your franchise, but there's a bajillion other amazing guys in this draft class.
But like Adam Fantilli goes one in the non-Matthews year. Like he goes one last year. He goes one in the Jack Hughes year. He goes one in the Nico Hischier year. He goes one in 2019. Is it 19? I think. He goes one a lot of the years, and then you still have like Leo Carlsson right now. I think his name's Leo Carlsson, the Swedish kid.
Leo Carlsson.
He's got 10 points in 11 SHL games. He's actually at a higher point per game pace right now than both Sedins, Forsberg, Elias Lindholm, who are the top SHL teenagers of all time. Like he's doing stuff. There's Braden Yeager. There's Zach Benson. There's Dalibor.
What's his name? The Russian guy kid too.
I always forget about Matvei Michkov.
Yeah.
Like some team is going to finish like second or third, fourth in the lottery. Get Matvei Michkov, let him sit in Russia for 2 years, then bring him over, and it's going to be like when teams bring over Kovalchuk or Ovechkin or whatever. Kirill Kaprizov. Like, I'm not mad. It's funny, but like at the same time, well, you do. I can just make jokes. But you have to try to figure out what's wrong with the team and provide people with some insight. And it's just the insight right now is like
they're just not talented.
The flashlight's broken. You can't see shit.
They're not talented. No, but it's okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about Queef?
I don't know. We'll let it ride. Kyle, you said it all. Where can the people find you?
Oh man, I'm a guest. I'm at Kyle Demetrius. I'm gonna turn my account into just a Kath and Kim reference account. That'll make sense to like 6 listeners, but I don't care. This is my brand now. I'm also a big cricket guy now. The T20 World Cup is on in Australia. I'm gonna try to go to a match, but they spread it out all over Australia. It's like 7 host sites, but gonna do that. T20 cricket. It's pretty sweet. I just joined a cricket club, so I'm gonna learn to play cricket. It's like ground baseball sort of, but yeah, I'm a cricket guy now, which is pretty sweet.
You're living your best life right now.
Canada's trash, so I just go for Australia, who's good. So there you go.
Yep. Kyle, always the noted front runner.
Hold on. This one's a little different. Actually, the best team in the world right now, I think, is India. Yeah, it's like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, England, Australia, New Zealand. Afghanistan's really good, actually. Just throw that one out there for some reason. Namibia is good. But anyway, yes, I only cheer for people who win.
Yep. Except for the Sharks for some reason.
Winning lotteries counts.
Winning lotteries does count. So.
They've never picked first.
This would be the perfect year to pick first. So, all right. Of course, you can find the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks, especially on Twitter, clipping game clips. So if you want to get the instant analysis and highlights of that, so go check us out on Twitter. You also listen wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, you name it, there. YouTube, go subscribe on there. And then when you guys are done, go check out the Locked On Fantasy Hockey, Steal and Flip, bringing your fantasy edge and keep you ahead of the competition with daily updates of news, analysis, and advice, Monday through Friday, wherever you get podcasts, and of course on YouTube and Odyssey as well. Follow me at my fry hole. Kyle is at Kyle Demetrius. And I'll be back tomorrow to preview the Rangers game with John from Locked On Rangers. And I'm probably going to say the Rangers are going to win 8-2. Actually, 8-1.
You should get one of those funny clown like slide whistles. It goes beep every time you talk about the Sharks versus the Rangers. That should be your gimmick for the Rangers game.
That should be. Until then, bye, friends.
Ciao.